Mr. Park, yes, it's not like I don't my son. It's just I have to go out and I don't know someone took care of him or not. How he stay without him, Mr. Min. I understand you, but I know the real reason, so Park stop doing all this drama in front of me. He sat and playing with the glass. Mr. Park smirked. Mr. Park, I want money on that time. I want money on that time. And if you try to me, you know well what I do. Mr. Min, like I am scared from you, huh? Mr. Park, and I want my son back. If something happens, I don't leave you, Mr. Min. Sign the papers. He said, and Mr. Park signed the papers. Mr. Min, now forget your son for forever. Mr. Park, not in your dreams also, Min. I want my son back. Mr. Min, you are the one who gave me your son, Mr. Park. You said on Mr. Park. Mr. Park, you are doing wrong, Min. He is my son. Mr. Park, when you don't care about your son, huh? Why would you? He said and started laughing. Mr. Park, I will you. Mr. Min, you will. If I give you a chance, he said and take from the guard and don't waste time to Mr. Park. Mr. Park also have and she him both lay on the ground. Mr. Min managed run from there because they are now if come and see all this so they run and just 10 minutes pass. A boy around his 25 come and stand in front of there. He see his father and his eyes widen. He bent down. Dad, what happened? Mr. Min say him. Who did this with you, Dad? Mr. Min Park me. He said, and here the is the eyes widen. He say Mr. Park also in the same condition as Mr. Min, and now he's thinking something. And then a small cute boy. Time skip after 5 years. Mrs. Min. Jimin, where are you? Jimin, here I am, Mom. Mrs. Min, Jimin. When I said you stay in the living room, I am coming with your snacks. Why you go, huh? Jimin, I just go to see Mrs. Min to see what, Jimin to see Jin Hyung little bit. He said and make up out Mrs. Min. Now both stay here, Jimin. You meet with him whenever you want. Come eat your snacks, Jimin. Sorry, Mrs. Min. It's alright. Sit here. Sit here. Jimin sits beside her, and he start to eat. Mrs. Min staring him with eyes. Of course, she is the mother. She loves Jimin so much. And then Jin come with the woo. Mrs. Min, how is my princess? She smiled and Jin gave her woo. Mrs. Min, wow, he becomes so cute. Jimin, just like me, right? Both chuckle. Jin, yes, just like you. Jimin, we both are cute. Me and woo. Jin, no doubt. Jimin, Jin Hyung. When Jin Hyung come, Jin, where? Jimin, I said, Jim, bring the chocolates. Mrs. Min, again. I said you don't eat too much chocolates, but you never listen me. Jimin, I don't. It just I said Jim, if by any chance my chocolates finish, what I do? Mr. Min signed to say him. She can't. With she can't win against Jimin, so she stays silent. And then RM come. RM, hello everyone. Jimin, hey Yoongi. My chocolates are here is your chocolates. I am give him a lot of chocolates and she becomes so happy. Jimin, thank you. Mrs. Min, don't bring so much chocolates for him. If not, it's not good. He's so cute, ma. I don't know how to say no to him. Also, I always listen him, Mrs. Min. You all him so much. Jin like you don't do. They are talking and Jimin is eating his chocolates and hearing what they are saying. And then Namjin go in the room and Jin also. Jin, when he come, Mom, Mrs. Min, it's been 5 years he don't come back. I call him. I call him. Okay. Oh wait, huh? So worry. Mrs. Min sign. Mrs. Min hope so. Jimin come in the room. He sits on the bed and he is eating chocolate. So Jimin is a different person in room and outside only. Mrs. Min know about this. The door knocked and she entered in the room. Jimin, mom, you are here. Mrs. Min come and sit in front of him. Mrs. Min in mind. First, I think I don't tell you about him, Jimin, but I have to. How much I hide from you, Jimin? What are you thinking, mom? Mrs. Min, I want to tell you something, Jimin. What? Tell me. I'm listening, Mrs. Min, son. Mrs. Min, you remember, Jimin, how you come here? She said, and Jimin, of course. He looking down, Mrs. Min. 5 years passed, Jimin, but still we are same. We are on that thing, and you know we can't move until he come back. She said, and Jimin shocked. Jimin, what you want? To said, mom. Mrs. Min, he is coming, Jimin. Jimin stand up. He's so shocked. Jimin Sana's no. Today, she such make Jimin more shocked. Jimin eyes widen more. Jimin Sana's no. Jimin, please said you are saying, mom, please. He said and started crying. Mrs. Min feeling. Mrs. Min, how can I said this, Jimin? I am his mother. I also want to meet him because of you. I don't meet him. It's almost 5 years. Now let him come, please. Jimin, then I go, mom. Mrs. Min, you don't go anywhere, and she may be in the flight now. Jimin, please, mom. He's shivering. Please, mom. Where is? Huh? Jimin, Mrs. Min, relax, relax. She started relaxing because she know where it's, and if she don't handle him now, Jimin is continuously speaking the same words again and again. Such him go away. Such him go away. Mrs. Min, Jimin, son, everything become alright. Don't cry. Okay. She becomes scared. Mrs. Min, Jimin, son, wake up. What happened? She lay him on the bed. Mrs. Min, Jin, come here. From the room, they come, their eyes wide. And Jin, mom, what happened with them, Mrs. Min? This is not the time for this. Namjoon, call someone. She's so worried. And Namjoon nodded. He called Dr. Mrs. Min, Jimin. Jin and Namjoon look at each other. They don't understand anything. And then, after 5 minutes, doctor come. He start to check him. And here time skip. Jimin is sleeping peacefully. Doctor son, doctor, he is fine. Just take too much. Now he's okay. Mrs. Min, thank you, doctor. She said, and Doctor Bo at and go. Mrs. Min, Jimin, Jin, mom. Now tell us what happened, Mrs. Min. You guys don't know. He have the problem of, and also, I said him he is coming back, and because of this all happened. Aram. अजान सॉरी ना अच्छा हाँ बस थोड़ी देर Mom, why you said Jim Young is coming when you know he young so much, and moreover why he is coming? Mrs. Min, he is your elder brother Namjoon, and also he's my son. If you don't come here, where he come, huh? I am mother. I want to meet him. I call him here, and only I know how I call her. How I call him here. She almost at Namjoon. She is tired. She is mother. She also want to meet her son Aram. And you forget what she did with this, Mrs. Min. It's their personal matter, Namjoon. You no need to speak Aram. Wow. Now it's become personal, huh? After 5 years, he is coming back. What she want to say, Mrs. Min, please Jin, take him from here. He don't know anything. I don't want. I said something wrong. Jin, I am sorry, mom, from his behavior. And Namjoon, come. Aram, what come her 5 years ago? Now we care about him. He said in last 2 words in low voice when he sees his brother exchange on the room door. Mrs. Min turned her eyes widened to see him. Aram, come with me, Jin. Namjoon, he just come. uh, Namjoon, he just come. Are you come with me or not? He said, and Jin didn't say anything. Namjoon held his hand and take him. He passed beside his brother and go. He didn't even look at him. Mrs. Min eyes fell on her. Eyes become teary to see her son. After 5 years, the son who don't stay without her even for a second, and he is coming back after 5 years. She want to him and touch. She went to him and touched his cheeks. Mrs. Min, my son, my uni, she said and burst into tears, but Yoongi didn't give her any response. After he heard everything, he is here, but no one can see him. His eyes do with this. Me, I am your mom. She is crying and complaining him, but his eyes stuck on the person, and then he looked at his mom and he didn't say anything. And Mrs. Min, he stay here, so you go in the another room. The room is already clean. Yoongi look at his mom with this confused face. Yoongi, why I go in another room? This is my room, Mrs. Min. You don't like Jimin stay here in your room, so that's why I said I wake him. I said, I wake him up. I said, Jim, he go in another room. It's like she become. Yoongi hold her hand and Sana's no. Yoongi, no one go anywhere, mom. I also stay here, and he also he have to spend his whole life with me. Mrs. Min in mind, he didn't even stay with you for a second. And you're talking about life, Yoongi. You go and take rest. I am here. I take care of him, Mrs. Min. He become. He's speaking less, Mrs. Min in mind. My uni. He's such a talkative person. What happened with you, my son? She really want to cry. She nodded. She know how much Jimin, Yoongi, and then she go. Yoongi closed the door and turned. He sees Jimin, who is sleeping on the bed peacefully after someone sleep. How peacefully he is sleeping. How can he sleep like this, huh? There is a person who don't know when he sleep last time, and here look at him. He is sleeping after forgetting the world, whole world. Yoongi sit in front of him. He went to him. He hold his hand, but she can't. He have permission to hold his hand? No. Who give him permission? He take his hand back, and Jimin look at him. He remembered the past, and tears are rolling from his eyes one by one. Young in mind, how can I face you? I don't know how can I stay with you. How can I make you believe? And start crying. He sits on the corner of the room. Can you imagine a king is crying? No one can believe. He's also human, but I think the world forgets his own family is of him. How he is feeling right now, and the most he come here just for him, and see he don't have courage. He don't have courage. He wake him up, or maybe he don't have right. How can it's possible? It's impossible for him. He's crying. Maybe he's waiting for this moment, and he thought someone wipe his tears, but no one is here to wipe his tears. He looked at sleepy Jimin with his teary eyes. Yoongi, I don't even know how I ask you for forgiveness. If you know you may forgive me, but you don't, so it's mean you don't forgive me. I said, and places his head on the wall. He said and places his head on the wall. He closed his eyes. Uh, hmm. Him, you have to tell him how much you miss him, how much you bear. He said and stand up. He's stirring him. He's scared to wake him up. He react. He's in his thoughts, and Jimin starts moving. He take a step back, and lights are disturbing Jimin. Jimin, mom, off the lights. He said in cute sleeping voice, and makeup out. Young is just seeing his actions. Youngie, how much cute you are. He said in Jimin. he said and smiled. Jimin turned and Yoongi hurriedly off the light, so he again fell in sleep. The whole night passed like this. Jimin slept peacefully and Yoongi is staring him with a lot of emotions in his eyes. He sits on the corner of the room. He folds his hand on his and staring him. It's morning. Sunrise fell on Jimin's face. Yoongi see him. He stand up. He remembered the person also. He sits on the bed with his wide eyes. Yoongi see him. He hides himself in the blanket. Jimin Ju. He can't even speak properly. Yoongi Jimin. He called him in soft voice and Jimin heard his name from his mouth. He closed his eyes and Jimin, leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Yoongi, Jimin, what happened? He take a step toward him and Jimin run to the door. He is so scared he don't even know how to unlock the door. Yoongi, Jimin, leave me alone. Leave me. He's and crying. Yoongi see him and only he knows how much pieces is such. Yoongi, I am going. I'll leave the room. I leave the room, he said and went to the door. And Jimin go in the bed. He is trying to hide himself and Yoongi opened the door. He opened the door and see Mrs. Min. He didn't say anything and she go. She come in the room and see Jimin is crying. Mrs. Min Jimin. And she call him and Jimin run to Mrs. Min. Jimin mom said him go, please let him go and never come back, please, Mrs. Min Jimin. Don't said like that, please, Jimin. No, mom, you don't know anything, please, Mrs. Min. I know everything, my son, please. Listen. She wiped his tears and Jimin looked at her. Mrs. Min make him sit on the bed and hold his both hands. Mrs. Min, you just give me answer of my question. Mrs. Min, he said something to you? She asked and Jimin sighed as no. Mrs. Min, Jimin, if he did something to you or such, I promise I set him by myself. He go or he leave you alone. But for now, please don't. I am also Mother Jimin. I want him in front of my eyes. My son come back after so many years. Please, Jimin sign as no. Mrs. Min said anything and run in the bathroom. Run in the bathroom. Run in the bathroom. Mrs. Min, please now make everything. I am everything all right. I'm tired now from all this, and I also know how much my youngest tired. Him, I see in his eyes. Please. She go to see Yoongi. Jimin take a shower. He fresh up and come out from the room. He come and see Yoongi stand in front of the dressing table. Jimin and Yoongi both look at each other and Yoongi take a step back. He stand on the corner of the room. Jimin didn't say anything. Mrs. Min's words are roaming in his mind. If he did something, I set him by myself, he'll leave you and go. Jimin started to dry his hairs, his hands, and Yoongi stirring him. Jimin see him. Yoongi is stirring him. He see him through the mirror and then he's looking down. He do his morning routine. He's fully ready to go. He didn't look at mirror or he place the perfume on the side table and also go out from the room. He know he have to face so many people now. Jimin come in the living room and she see Jin. He went to him. Jimin. Jimin, good morning, Jin Hyung. His voice is so low. Jin, what happened? Jimin signs no and then Aram come. Aram, good morning, Jimin. Yoongi also come. Jimin, good morning, Yoonji. Aram, are you okay or he did something? He said while looking at Yoongi. Jimin, I am fine, Hyung. Aram, then why are you sounding low? Mrs. Min, come. Mrs. Min, you guys should plan stand here or sit. They all sit. Jimin looking down. He didn't look at him. and then made Jigwoo and give to Jin. Yoongi see, Yoongi, who is he? Mrs. Min smiled. Mrs. Min, he is Woyun. Jin and Namjoon. She said, and Yoongi become happy. May don't talk. We don't talk with him, but Jina Ju. Jungi, he is so cute. Jin, well, we all know he is the a second copy of Jimin in cuteness. He said, and Yoongi looked at Jimin, who is looking at Jin with his wide eyes. Yoongi, no doubt. He said while looking at Jimin, and Jimin looked at him, but she again looking down. Yoongi gave him back to Jin. George gave him my son now. I don't believe him. Jin Namjoon, please, Mrs. Min, you guys leave all this. Jin, breakfast is ready or not? Jin, almost ready, mom. Mrs. Min, Jimin, go and see. He nodded and go. Yoongi, why you sent him to check? I mean, as I know, he don't know anything, Mrs. Min. You are right, but how you know, Yoongi? I know everything. Okay, so he have his own ways to know about him. He means Jimin. Everything. Jimin, everything is ready, Mrs. Min. Sure. Jimin, mom. At least I know how to check the things. He said and makeup out. A small smile appeared on Yoongi's face to see him. Jin see him and smile, and now he decided to talk with Namjoon. What is his problem, huh? When Jimmy don't have any problem, he is smiling like this. Mrs. Min Namjoon going and Mrs. Min Namjoon going on the dining table. Jimin and Jin Yoongi are left. Jin, so Yoongi, we don't meet each other before, but mom always talk about you, the way you are talkative and everything. I am so sorry of Namjoon, of what Namjoon is doing. Yoongi, you no need to say sorry. He is not saying anything wrong. Jin about to speak. I am of Namjoon, of course. What I said wrong, huh? Like he don't. Jin Namjoon. Jimin, but he never me Hyun. He said in Yoongi unknownly feeling happy. Jimin, it's him. You were still taking his side, Jin. Jimin, I am not taking anyone's side. I am just telling you the reality. Reality is not. It's the reality. He, Mrs. Min, enough, Namjoon. Not stay silent. Why can't you leave the topic? She said, and take a deep breath. Deep breath. यार रुक जा 5 मिनट आसे he don't want he said something to Mrs. Min. Yoongi went to him. Yoongi placed his hand on his shoulder. Namjoon see him. Yoongi, I know you are kid. When I leave everything on you, it's your age to do fun. And you start to handling the business. I don't take your days back. And also I do so many things in past. I can't change. But I can do one thing. I go away from here. You all are so happy in your life, right? I just come for some chance. I just come for someone, and it's enough for me to spend my whole life. Don't win, Amjad. I go and I never come now. I am here in front of you. I am just here for Jimin. I said him sorry. He forgive me or not, it's his choice. And also how much years he spent without me here, huh? With my name. So I gave him. He can spend his life happily if he wants to stay with me. I am here for him. I really don't know when I realized I fell for him. I become behind him. And if he don't forgive me and I go out, I spent my whole life just in his memories. So now you no need to worry. I go back soon. I am just here as an charming. Sif Charmin. I'm just here for 1 week. Bear me just for 1 week, Namjoon. Yoongi, I didn't disturb you all in your family time, so enjoy. He said and go. I am silent. Mrs. Min, my son. Jimin sees disappearing figure. 10 minutes. Jimin come. In the room, he is thinking about Yoongi, and you see Yoongi standing beside the window, looking outside. Of course, he is thinking about Namjoon. What he is thinking, how much his own family, he make Jimin confused. He really him or something else. Without saying anything, he sits on the edge of the bed. Yoongi feels someone is in the room. He and his eyes meet with Jimin, and then Jimin hurriedly looks into another side. She sadly smiles and again starts to look outside. Both are silent. No one have dared to say something to Yoongi, thought to break the silence. He have to go back after 1 week. So why he is wasting his time? Maybe Jimin gave him chance. Yoongi, if you don't mind, can we talk? After 1 week I go, don't worry. Know how to speak in front of him. Yoongi signs no. I sign Yoongi, can you come here and stand with me? He said and Jimin eyes widen. Yoongi, it's okay if you don't. I don't have any problem. He said and smiled sadly. Jimin can hear feeler on the place and she remember what she said in living room and also what Mrs. Min said. He stand up and take a deep breath. He went to him as slowly and stand beside him. There is a big distance between them. Yoongi see him and smile. Yoongi, thank you. Yoongi, so how are you? Jimin, fine. His voice is slow. It's enough to Yoongi hear it, but he manage. Yoongi, how's your 5 years spent? Well, of course, in peace, right? Jimin didn't say anything. Yoongi, I go USA and then I thought to do my business there, but maybe I'm not capable to do so. They speak more. The rainy outside, and the weather is also not good at all. Suddenly, there is a voice of a and Jimin eyes wider. He becomes scared and he went to the Yoongi. They both have almost same height and their eyes widen to see each other. Yoongi hands. He won't fall. Jimin can't believe what happened. He's still in shock. Even he forgets. बस 15 seconds. Forget to bet and only Yoongi know how much he want. He want the. Okay, so hope so you guys like. If you like, then subscribe and also tell me in comments. Take care of yourself. Sarange.